Hey guys, welcome back. Oh my goodness, it's been so long. It's been a minute since I have said that. Oh my goodness, I don't even know really where to start. First off, I'll start by saying that today I have this look that I am going to do for you for New Year's Eve. I knew for sure that I wanted to incorporate silver, and I know that that seems super overrated, people using silver for New Year's Eve, but I was like, you know what? Silver is New Year's Eve, and I want to be able to incorporate it somehow, some way, so I decided to throw silver in with cool tones. And I'm not really used to working with cool tones, and I'm not really comfortable working with them. My comfort zone is more warm tones, but I actually really loved the way that it came out. I think I like it so much because it's so different on me, because I am never used to seeing myself wearing these kind of colors, but like looking at myself in the monitor like, hi, how you doing? I was gone for a few months, and it wasn't by choice. It was just because there were so many things going on, all good things, and I was just so busy, and I never thought that I would say that, like, oh, I just didn't have the time to sit in front of the camera and do makeup, you know, like it's such a chore. I love doing this and I love makeup. It's literally my life. Every single day that I wasn't sitting here doing this, I was thinking of doing this. So I feel like before I say anything else and before I go on and talk about all the other things that I have to talk about, I just know that this is where my heart is and this is what I want to do. No matter what, nothing will ever change that. So all that being said, lots of things have changed. So I have a new camera that I am still learning and figuring out. It's much nicer and much more advanced. I am using new software, new editing programs. So it's just a lot of learning that I've had to do, but all good change. One of the exciting things that have happened over the past few months while I have been away is that I was offered to be an affiliate with MIKASA Beauty, and they were gracious enough to give me and my viewers and my followers a 15% discount on all their products throughout their website, and I will link their website down below as well as my personal coupon code. I do know that I'm going to do a specific video just solely dedicated to the brushes, and maybe me do a tutorial using just them and just talking more in depth about them. They are an amazing company that have awesome brushes for an extremely affordable price, and so thank you so much to MIKASA Beauty. It's just very exciting stuff. Anywho, I'm gonna go ahead and stop talking and we can just jump right into the tutorial. Bye guys. So for today's look, I'm gonna be starting off with the eyes first, just because we're gonna be messing with darker shadows and glitter, and there will be fallout, so just to prevent messing up our foundation, we're gonna go ahead and start with the lids first. I'm just going to be taking a little bit of concealer and priming my eyes to use it as a base. And then just with a damp sponge, I'm just going to pat that all on the eyelid, just to give our shadow something to stick onto. Vegas and the Mandarin, high rolling gambling. Alrighty. So for the first shadow, I'm going to be taking a Makeup Geek shadow, and it is in the shade Bandwagon. It looks like this right here. It's a lighter cool tone shadow, and I'm going to be picking that up with the Morphe M441. Okay, and I'm going to be taking this shade all the way from the inner to the outer corner in the crease, like so. And this shade is basically going to be our transition shade. So the next shade that I'm picking up is going to be from the Juvia's Place. This is the Masquerade. I love these shadows because they are so affordable and they have so much pigment in them, and they give you so much product. I mean, look how big an eyeshadow is. That's huge. So the shade that I'm going to take, it's this one right here. It's in the shade Burkina, and it's going to be a mid-tone brown. Pick that color up with the same brush. I'm putting that one in the same spot where we put Bandwagon. I'm just going a little bit more heavy-handed with this shade. Alrighty. So even though I am being a little bit more generous with this color, I am still using a light hand and building it up. Just taking my time here. Next, I'm going to be taking an Anastasia shadow, and this is in the shade Hot Chocolate, and it looks like this right here. So I'm going to be taking that shade on my Morphe M433 brush, This one is very similar to the last brush I was using, the M441. This one's just like a size down, so I can get a little bit more precise into the areas that I need to. With this one, I'm basically just going to put this in the inner and the outer corners. So I want the deepest amount of color to be deposited again into the inner and outer corner, and that's what's going to give us this halo effect. Right now, I'm just getting the desired color and the placement where I want it. I'm being really sloppy with this color because I am going to coat my whole lid with a really intense silver shadow here in just a second. So once I have that placement into the inner and the outer corner, I'm going to go ahead and bring that just into the crease, and I do not want to exceed that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up a little bit more of a detailed brush. It's a little bit smaller, and this is from MIKASA Beauty, and this is the E300 brush. And I'm going to go ahead and take that same color, and this brush is just going to help me be a little bit more precise with where I'm wanting the color. After I'm done with this, I'm going to go back in with that Morphe M433 brush because it's a flat brush, and that's going to help me really get into the crease. But right now, this brush is going to be perfect for giving me that dimension that I'm looking for into the inner and outer corner. So this is going to just help me make things a lot more precise and intense. This is my new obsession. I love it. This is definitely going to be more of a precise blending brush, and it's a little bit more dense. So like in comparison to the Sigma E40 blending brush, let me see if you can grab it. So this one is a Sigma E40, and this is the MIKASA Beauty one. So you can see they are definitely, they're just different in size. MIKASA Beauty one is just my new go-to. I don't necessarily use it as a blending brush, but for me, because my eyes are definitely much smaller, for me to be able to get into the crease, this is perfect to get a really nice precise color into the crease, and while it's still being able to buff it out. And then I'll go back in with my Sigma E40, and that's when I'll just go and buff this on all over the lid. I can use these two brushes alone for one look, and it's just perfect. So for the next eyeshadow I'm going to be using, it's going to be a Kat Von D shadow. It's her Metal Crush eyeshadows, and this is in the shade Static Age. It's this color right here, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful silver. I have a few of these shadows, and I absolutely love them. They remind me of the Makeup Geek foiled shadows. I'm going to be taking this shade in a Morphe G20 brush. So as you can see, I've left like the center of my lid blank. That's because we're going to be placing this shade right in there. Okay, I'm actually going to go ahead and spritz my brush with a little bit of Fix Plus. Okay, and you want to make sure that you are not exceeding the crease with this color. You want to keep it right on the lid. Go ahead and take this color all the way to the inner and the outer corner, and then I'm going to go back in just a second with more of that Anastasia Hot Chocolate shade and just deepen in my corners again. So pretty. I want this color to be as opaque as possible. This is going to be the star of the show. Now that I have that silver shade all over my lid, I'm going to go in back with my favorite MIKASA Beauty brush in that E300 and take more of Anastasia Hot Chocolate. And I'm going to go back over to intensify the inner and outer corner. This is going to cover up what we just did, but that is okay because, again, we want that most intense silver shade to be right in the center of the lid. So just to go ahead and blend everything out and make sure that that dark brown is blended in nicely with that lighter brown, I'm going to take a little bit more of that first shade that we used for Makeup Geek, Bandwagon, and I'm going to take a little bit of that onto the Sigma E40 and just make sure that everything is just seamless. We're just going to wing it. I have been trying to get my hands on the Lit Cosmetics glitter. Every New Year's, I always want to go and I try and scramble to get it, and no store has it. Apparently Sephora does not carry the brand anymore. So I'm going to improvise, and I'm just going to use a lash glue. Whatever you have, make it work. Like, I'm going to try and make this lash glue work. The silver glitter that I have is going to be this Wet n Wild color icon in Spiked. This is a silver. At first I thought, like, this is the only thing that I could find, and I thought that it was going to be like that gelatin, like when you put it on your finger, it was like gelatin and you would get like 3 specks of glitter. No, this really surprised me. This is glitter that is just packed into this little thing. So it has no gelatin whatsoever. It is all glitter. Dear God. Okay, so I'm just going to take the straight wand. The glue that I'm using is my favorite, Revlon Precise. This one is the one that dries clear, obviously. And I'm just going to wing it. Okay, now with this glue, I'm going to have to work a little fast. I'm just going to be taking an angled brush. You can take any very precise brush. This is the MIKASA E100 brush. And I'm going to be dipping this into the glitter. Okay, and I'm just going to be following right where I placed that glue. That'll work. This 99 cents went wild, saved the day. Okay, so now I'm just going to get a wipe and wipe all under my eyes where we have all that fallout. Oh. So for the lashes I'm going to be using, they are my favorite at the moment. I only use them for special occasions because they are so dramatic. And they are the Allure Luxe lashes in the style Gilded. These are like their new collection that they released earlier on in the year. It's only been a few months. They're supposed to look like mink lashes, so mink effect lashes. If I didn't know any better, I would definitely think that these are mink lashes because they look so luxurious, they feel luxurious, they're just beautiful, the quality is amazing. They have 3 different styles, but this one is the most dramatic. So I figured this is going to be the perfect opportunity to wear these because this look is super dramatic and super glam. If you happen to hear bombing noises or like gunshots, those are fireworks. People are popping fireworks outside. So it's kind of fitting for this New Year's Eve look. I was a little concerned as to how the lashes were going to stay on and adhere to the lid right on top of the glitter liner, but it's actually doing really, really well. Die, darling, die. I'm going to wipe my face down one last time just to make sure. I mean, the shadow and that glitter, I mean, is intense. So I still feel like I see flecks of glitter. And alrighty, so moving on to the face, I'm going to be using the Becca Backlight Priming Filter Primer and getting a generous amount of this all over my fingertip. Again, I don't necessarily use this stuff for the longevity of my foundation. I honestly don't even know if it helps out with my foundation lasting. All I know is that whenever I'm applying foundation, it gives it a really nice base to stick onto, and of course I love the look of it that it gives my foundation and just overall makeup look. It gives it such a beautiful glowy finish. Okay, so for the foundation I'm going to be using, this is actually one that I have not got to experiment with, so this is kind of going to be kind of a first impression. I have a few different shades of this one, and it's the Urban Decay All Nighter Foundation. I figured it's fitting all nighter for whatever you're doing for New Year's Eve. You're most likely going to be out all night long, so you want a foundation that is going to be long lasting and foundation that's more than likely going to be full coverage. At least that's what I'm looking for, but who am I kidding? That's what I'm always looking for. So I figured that this would be the perfect time for me to try this out. Oh, it's a lot more liquidy than I thought it was. For some reason I thought it was going to be super thick like the Becca foundation. And I have glitter all over my fingers. Oh my god. Don't get me wrong, I love glitter. I eat glitter, I breathe glitter, I fart glitter, but the one thing I hate about it, it lingers and it gets everywhere. I am looking very jaundiced on my monitor, but I swear it is not like that in real life. Very nice. Very, very, very nice. I am definitely loving it. Loving it, loving it, loving it. It's not as heavy as I thought it was going to be, but it's still super full coverage. Wow. That's really nice. Alrighty, so for my concealer, I'm going to be using the Nars, what is this? The Radiant Creamy Concealer. And I'm using mine in the shade Custard. Mine is definitely, it's definitely a way lighter shade than what I would typically use, but I like to use my concealer as a highlight. So I'm gonna go ahead and not only put it under the eyes, I'm gonna go ahead and put it under like all the places where I typically do. A little bit on the forehead. Yeah, might as well go crazy and put a little bit right there. Why not? Alrighty, and then I'm gonna get my damp beauty sponge. This one is from Real Techniques. And this concealer into the skin. I stopped using this method for about 2 weeks because my dog ended up eating the beauty blender that I had on hand with me, and I have a bunch in stock in my kit. I was just too lazy to like go in there and dig it out and get a new one, so I was just being lazy and decided to use a synthetic brush to blend out my concealer. And as much as I liked it in the meantime, there really is nothing like using a damp beauty sponge. I'm so addicted to this thing. Like, just goes to show, like, I tried living without it for a few weeks and it just was not the same. So I feel like it just gives such a beautiful finish, and it really does hydrate the skin. I noticed that when I was going in with the synthetic brush, it just made my concealer look so crepey and so just gross and cakey and not cute. So like, this really does soak up all the extra product to where you're not looking cakey in the slightest. Okay, so now that we have that placed down, I'm going to go ahead and set everything before I start to crease, because it doesn't matter what the concealer is, I will crease. So I'm going to be using the Laura Mercier Secret Brightening Powder. And this is specifically for under the eyes. I love, 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 love this stuff. I've been using this like crazy lately. The powder is so super fine, so it really just gets into every little crevice and just makes things look so blurred out. But I usually put this in the same spots where I would typically go in with my MAC Emphasize powder. Just everywhere where I put that concealer is where I'm going to go ahead and set. I'm going to go ahead and move on to brows. I'm just going to skip through this part. I'm using the Anastasia Brow Definer. Okay, now that the brows are done, I'm going to go ahead and move on to the bottom lash line. I'm going to be taking that same shadow that I used for my top lid in the shade Burkina. And I'm just going to take that on a pencil brush and buff that in. And I almost forgot, the pencil brush that I'm using is also from MIKASA Beauty and is the E310 brush. I've tried quite a few pencil brushes in my day, and in all honesty, can say that this one by far is my favorite. Whenever I use a pencil brush, I always find it to be too dense to where it hurts to apply, and it just puts things on very, very choppy, and it doesn't have any like blending quality to it at all, since I always have to go in with another brush and blend out what I did with that pencil brush. But this one, it's like a pencil brush and a blending brush in one. So it gives it it gives it that same precise feeling that a pencil brush would, but it also isn't as dense and hard and stiff to where it's able to be comfortable under my eye and blending it out, and it does a beautiful job while doing so. So the MIKASA E310 brush is by far my favorite pencil brush. I have finally found the pencil brush that I've been looking for. So as I have that shadow in there, I'm going to go ahead and apply some black gel liner into my lash line. The one that I'm using, it's the Marc Jacobs gel liner. Favorite eyeliner of all time. It is so black and so creamy. It's amazing. I love it. I'm going to go ahead and go back in and just buff that in together. Go ahead and move on to contouring. I'll be using the Nars Laguna bronzer. The skin. I'm gonna put a little bit on my forehead just to warm things up and have everything even. For my blush, I'm going to be taking the Morphe blush palette, the 9N, and I'm going to be using this bottom color right here. So for my highlight, I'm going to be using two different highlighters. I'm going to be using the Becca Champagne Pop mixed with a little bit of Pearl. I'm just putting that right at the highest points of my cheeks. A little bit on the ball of my nose. I'm also going to bring that in just a bit, like right on the apples of my cheek. Then just to make sure that we don't have a distinct like stripe of highlight, I'm going to take my blush brush with no additional product and just sweep over that. For the last finishing touch, I'm going to be applying the ColourPop 0.0 liquid lipstick. I'm gonna do a little overline because that never hurt anybody. Once you have your lips done, the look is complete. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you get to try out this look for New Year's, whichever event you have coming up. Thank you so much for watching all this year. It has been a ride, to say the least, but I am thankful for it. I am thankful for you. Lots of love and growth and prosperity in the new year to come. Thank you all, and I will see you next year. Bye, guys.